Hello and welcome back to the Brave podcast, Doing Travel Differently. My name's Faye, founder of The Brave, and today's episode is one I've been looking forward to recording because it follows one of the most joyful, inspiring and affirming travel experiences I've had in a very long time. Recently, I've had the privilege of spending a few days in Sabah, Malaysian Borneo, hosted by one of our wonderful Brave advocates, Outreach Borneo. I've known June, Meijin and Stuart for some time online. We've spoken regularly, shared ideas and developed a friendship founded on remarkably similar values. But as we all know, sometimes what we see online and what we experience in reality are very different things. But not this time. If anything, spending time with Outreach Borneo exceeded every expectation I had. It confirms something I've increasingly come to believe. Authenticity cannot be manufactured, it can only be experienced. One of my strongest reflections was that Outreach Borneo doesn't feel like a tour company. It feels like a family. June, Meijin and Stuart have created something incredibly special. They invest in young people, they nurture confidence, they mentor, they encourage curiosity. They create opportunities. Everyone has a role. Everyone matters. There's laughter, there's warmth, there's genuine care, and perhaps that's what guests feel too. You're not treated as a customer, you're welcomed as a temporary member of the family, and that changes everything. Tourism often encourages us to ask, what are the must-see attractions? Outreach Borneo asks something completely different. What kind of person would you like to become whilst you're here? The focus isn't on ticking off orangutans, mountains or rivers. It's about understanding Sabah. Its people, its communities, its forests, its traditions, its stories. Adventure becomes a vehicle for education. Nature becomes the classroom and community becomes the teacher. I've spoken before about authenticity. It's a word that's used so often in tourism that sometimes it loses its meaning. My time in Borneo, combined with my time that preceded it in Sri Lanka, really helped me understand and define authenticity in my own way, in a much simpler way. It's unscripted. It's organic. It's the conversation you never expected to have, the invitation to cook together, the laughter around a shared meal, the village headman quietly joining the conversation, women teaching me to make traditional jewellery whilst gently laughing at my attempts. And none of these moments felt staged. None were performances. They simply happened. And that's the point. Real authenticity isn't created for tourists because that actually constitutes staging or staged authenticity. It's created when tourism respectfully enters everyday life. Something else became increasingly obvious. Joy. We spend so much time discussing responsible tourism, ethical tourism, sustainable tourism through definitions, frameworks and indicators. Perhaps we've overlooked something wonderfully simple. Responsible tourism should be joyful. It should promote human flourishing, not only for visitors, but for hosts. Throughout my stay, I saw children laughing, guides laughing, village elders smiling, making mischief together, families cooking together, people genuinely enjoying one another's company. There was playfulness everywhere, and that tells me something. When tourism is developed with communities rather than imposed upon them, people don't just tolerate visitors, they welcome them. That perhaps is one of the greatest indicators that tourism is working well. Another thing Outreach Borneo reminded me of is that learning doesn't happen only in classrooms. It happens through experience. I learned how to build a fire using bamboo, how to construct a survival shelter, how to identify edible plants, how to understand the forest differently. And these weren't simply activities, they were opportunities to understand another relationship with nature, other relationships with nature, knowledge passed down from one generation to another, and genuinely and generously shared with their visitors. And to me, that's education at its very best. What impressed me the most wasn't the activities, it was how seamlessly communities were woven into them. People weren't there because tourism needed them. Tourism existed because communities wanted to participate. Women creating jewellery, families hosting meals, young people guiding adventures, artisans sharing skills, beekeepers sharing honey production techniques. Everyone had ownership, everyone had dignity, everybody benefited, everyone had a slice of the pie, so to speak. And that's what community-based tourism should look like. One thing that really impressed me was Outreach Borneo's flexibility. There isn't one standard itinerary. There isn't one accommodation. There isn't one guest profile. Instead, they listen. Families, solo travellers, students, adventure seekers, corporate groups, researchers, everyone receives something slightly different. That flexibility is only possible because of the relationships they've built with local communities. It feels personal because it genuinely is. My visit also reinforced something I believe passionately: collaboration beats competition. The partnership between the Brave Travels and Outreach Borneo going forward isn't simply about selling holidays. It's about connecting the right travellers with the right experiences. Together we can create fully personalised journeys that begin long before you board the aircraft and continue long after you've returned home. That's doing travel differently. As I left Sabah, I felt something I always think is a sign of an exceptional travel experience. I wasn't sad because my holiday had ended. I was sad because I was saying goodbye to people. That tells you everything. Travel at its best isn't about places, it's about people. Because although cultures differ, languages differ, foods differ, our humanity doesn't. Travel reminds us of that. It teaches us empathy, understanding, curiosity, friendship, and perhaps even peace. And if tourism can do that, then it really becomes one of the greatest forces for good in the world. My sincerest thanks to June, Meijin, Stuart, and the wonderful team at Outreach Borneo and the wonderful communities of Sabah. Thank you for your warmth, your generosity, and your friendship. I know I'll be back. And if you're thinking about visiting Borneo, please do. But don't just visit. Experience it, learn from it, become part of it, get in touch with the Brave Travels and Outreach Borneo, and together we'll create a journey you'll remember for the rest of your life. Until next time, let's be brave and let's do travel differently.